Okay, so look, I posted my morning video. I thought I was done. Look, my coffee is almost finished, right down to the bottom of the cup. So I'm doing some work on my computer. I'm like, let me just put on some videos here. And the YouTubes will decide what I need to watch. And then I saw it. This hearing yesterday, Ashley Pearson, the death of the boyfriend murder trial. It's not even a trial because it didn't get to trial. It was a hearing. This is a classic case of a public service homicide. Now listen, some of these judges have told us we are not allowed to do public service homicides, but it turns out in Kansas, you can do a public service homicide if you have a good reason. Also, this judge read this, the victim, the dead dude, for filth, also read his mama and his grandmama for filth, and I was here for it. Let me give you a little bit of background. I don't know that much about it because I just watched a couple videos while I was doing some other work, but I was like, oh, I got to talk to my people about this one. So look, this woman, Ashley, right? Ashley? Wait, I wrote her name. Yeah, Ashley Pearson, living over there in Kansas. She's far from her family. She's isolated from them. She don't have a whole bunch of friends. Her friends are just as in bad shape financially as she is, and she has a couple of kids. Her boyfriend likes to drink. She likes to drink, but when he drinks, he gets violent. Now, both of them seems like are heavy drinkers. Okay, fine. If you can hold your liquor, child, get your drinks on and have a good time. But this dude is known to beat people up, has a long history of fighting, a long history. And I'm like, okay, that's terrible. When they said that, I thought they meant bar fights. He gets mad and he gets oh, blah, 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 blah. And he's talking to some dude in the bar. Nah. This dude beat up his mama and his grandmama. How you beating up your grandma? Old people? I'm surprised she didn't kill him sooner. I'm surprised the mama didn't kill him. But according to the judge was like, oh, it's clear. The mother was an enabler. The grandmother was an enabler. Everybody was enabling his foolishness. And it stops here. She was absolutely justified. Come to find out that he had broken her jaw twice. Twice? And they were like, the cop, so it looks like the district attorney looked at the case and was like, yeah, obviously it was self-defense, AKA a public service homicide. And so then that district attorney goes on and does whatever district attorneys do. Then a new DA comes to town and takes another look at the case. And I'm like, is this DA trying to improve the numbers in the community or whatever? Oh, we need to get our record up. So I'm going to look like Billy Badass, blah, blah, blah. So the new DA is like, we're going to take a look at this case again and we're going to charge her. So they go back and they interview her again. Her jaw is still wired shut. She has little rubber bands. It's just enough space for her to open her mouth to eat or whatever. What? You're interviewing her while her jaw is wired shut from where he beat her so savagely. But you're like, ma'am, that's not a good enough excuse. And they were like, oh, she hid the knife. She was trying to get him off her child, trying to keep him from beating her savagely again. And she's like, I just poked him. Well, girl, you did more than poke him. You poked him to death, but yeah, okay, you poked him just a little bit, just a tip. It was more than just a tip because old boy was very, very unalive over there in the kitchen. Why these fights always happen in the kitchen? Anyway, so she's like, I poked him and then I went to make sure my baby was okay. And I came back and you know what he was? Dead on the floor like a carp. Over there just all laid out. All kinds of dead. And she was just like, ooh, so I called his grandmother and was like, Grandma, he was beating me again like he always does. He seems wounded. And the grandmother was like, oh, we'll call 911. We normally don't call 911 when he beats up the family members because we don't want to get him in trouble. We don't want him to go to jail. If y'all had let him go to jail, maybe he would have got some rehab or something or other. I don't know. But she was like, okay, 911, I might have lightly poked him with a knife and now he appears to be dead. Could you you might want to come pick this up because it's making a mess on my floor, the stains. Also, who gonna pay this rent? That's why I'm staying here because he's paying the rent. Now what us gonna do? So the cops come, they look at it, they're like, oh, yeah, girl, he very, very dead. He has beat up former girlfriend. He been beating up people for years. Years. These people are in their 20s. How you in your 20s and you've been beating up people for years? You ask me, your mom and them should have handled this years ago. But the judge said very clearly, the mother and grandmother were both enablers. Also, mama and grandma, the judge said in the nicest possible judicial way, y'all are garbage. Now, I understand that there are psychological reasons why somebody might cover for their loved one. Let that be one of my kids coming in here acting crazy, talking crazy, doing whatever. They all know. They all already know. One of them had too much lip. He had to move out. I was like, nope, nope. You're not staying. I don't care where you go. You got to get the heck out of here. He was like, I'm only 18. Yep, that's grown. Bye. See you. It didn't take that many months of him living outside this house. And he was like, you know what? I have had a change of heart as it relates to respect and following rules and doing the mess I'm supposed to do. And you know what? His act right fully reinstalled. I don't know if that one was born with a whole lot of act right to start with, if you want to know the truth. He was a little light in the act right area from jump. But okay, we tried to help him. We tolerated whatever. And then sent his behind on upstate. Came back a new man. He's still a good kid. Wonderful. 25 years old right now. Got his whole act together. You and your ADHD and your dyslexia and your whatever, you getting in trouble at school. I'm going to put my foot dead in your behind. Those younger boys, they don't do nothing. They're like, remember that time she kicked our older brother? You know she not playing. I'm nice. I'm delightful. Ooh, I'm a charming mother. I am a treasure to have as a parent. What you're not going to do is make me mad. Because all that foolishness, I love you. I gave birth to you. But you know what I'm going to do? Foot dead in your behind if you can't get yourself together. I'm just saying. Now, this boy, he was grown. This man in this case, he was grown. And he should have had enough common sense to pull himself together, go to rehab, go to the hospital, get your mental health together, go to AA, whatever it is. But you out here just beating up people, breaking your girlfriend's jaw twice, beating your mama and grandma. Somebody need a gun. A girlfriend of mine who's from up here, it was a military wife. She moved to Mississippi. She said, girl, they got a saying down here in Mississippi, or was it Alabama? Wherever Huntsville is, child. You know, I don't go south of Jersey City, so I don't know nothing about what's happening down there in the South. But she said, they got a saying down here. And the saying is, he need a killing. And I was like, oh, girl, you better be careful. Because you know down in that part of the world, everybody got, the babies got guns, the raccoons got guns, everybody got a gun. That boy, Ashley Peterson's boyfriend, he need a killing. And she gave him a little bit of that. And now we don't have to worry about him no more. Just like Danielle Redlick. You remember Danielle Redlick? The kitchen knife murder trial. Is a knife a woman's weapon? I thought poison was a woman's weapon. Turns out knives too. Because Danielle Danielle was married to her stepdaddy. Child, that's another question. That's another conversation for another day. I think I did a whole video on her. But very prominent family. Yes, she was married to her stepfather, but she was married to him for like 20 some odd years. Okay, whatever. I'm not judging you that much to your face. And he used to come home and beat her behind. And he was some sort of big muckety-muck executive in the sports world, like a basketball, football, some sort of sports ball executive, right? So she was just like tolerating it. And one night he came home and she had had enough and she stabbed him all up and blood everywhere. And then she left him laying on the floor for 24 hours. Thank goodness they lived in Florida, so they had those tile floors so you could mop that up real easy. And she tried to clean it up, and she's like, listen, I can't clean this up. I'm going to need another drink. Liquor is always involved in this. And then she was like, hey, 911. So listen, I have a problem. My husband had a heart attack. Yeah, could you send some heart attack helpers over? Thanks to you then. Bye, click. And then she was like, we had a little argument last night and then I fell asleep and I woke up and I found him like this. And they were like, ma'am, he has 37 stab wounds. And she was like, yeah, his heart attacked him with a knife repeatedly on the living room floor, possibly also in the kitchen. And so they were like, ma'am, that's not you're gonna have to go to trial. So she went to trial and they declared that a public service homicide, AKA self-defense. And now Danielle Redlick is out here in these streets with me and you. What you're not gonna want to do is make her mad or serve her steak. You could pre-cut up the steak and give it to her, but don't make her mad and give her no steak knife because that girl know how to use it. And then she's gonna be like, ooh, I don't know what happened. Anyway, all of that to say, good for you, Ashley Pearson, whatever your name is, over there in Kansas, Pearson. Ashley Pearson is free. That's right, girl. She fought the patriarchy with a knife. Y'all better be good to your women. It's not that many men who watch this channel. I see the analytics. But if you out here and you just be good to people. How about that? Just be a good, decent human being. And then you, my friend, will not be the victim of a public service homicide. You're welcome. Have a good day. Bye.